4 ballistic missiles, then a coast-to-sea missile, then suicide drones. Day after day, Iran's Revolutionary Guard has been firing everything it has at the crown jewel of American naval power, the USS Abraham Lincoln, one of the most defended objects on the face of the earth. And today, something happened that no military analyst, no Pentagon strategist, no American admiral would have publicly predicted before this war began. An Iranian vessel breached the Abraham Lincoln's defensive perimeter, got close enough for the U.S. Navy to open fire on it. And the USS Gerald R. Ford, America's newest carrier, more advanced than the Abraham Lincoln, built with the most sophisticated naval technology ever built, a fire broke out on board during its deployment. The details are still emerging, but the symbolism of 2 American aircraft carriers, the symbols of unchallengeable American naval dominance, simultaneously under fire, under drone attack, and suffering internal emergencies in the same combat zone, is not lost on anyone watching this war. Here is the strategic reality that exists between Iran's propaganda and Washington's denials, and this is the part that matters most. Let's establish what is not in dispute. The USS Abraham Lincoln is a Nimitz-class aircraft carrier, 100,000 tons of American military might. It carries 80 combat aircraft. It is surrounded by a strike group, including guided missile destroyers, cruisers, submarines, and logistics ships. It has multiple overlapping defense systems: the Phalanx close-in weapon system, the Evolved Sea Sparrow missile, the RIM-116 rolling airframe missile. It is the physical embodiment of American power projection, the most visible symbol of what it means to challenge the United States military at sea. And Iran has been trying to hit it every single day since this war began. Now, here is what we know about what Iran has actually done. On day 1, Iran's IRGC claims to have struck the Abraham Lincoln with 4 ballistic missiles, causing it to flee the area at high speed. CENTCOM responded within hours, posting photos and videos of the carrier operating normally, launching aircraft, and flatly stating the missiles did not come close. Iran's claim? A lie. CENTCOM's response? The carrier never stopped flying missions. Day 5. Iran changed its approach. Instead of ballistic missiles, the IRGC deployed naval drones, low-flying, radar-evading, cheap, expendable. Iran's Qatam al-Anbiya central headquarters issued a statement claiming the drones struck the Lincoln 340 kilometers from Iran's territorial waters in the Sea of Oman and forced the carrier and its escorts to withdraw more than 1,000 kilometers. CENTCOM again denied the strike, released new photos, said flight operations were continuing normally. Day 6. Iran fired a coast-to-sea missile directly at the Abraham Lincoln, the most direct, confirmed, official missile launch at an American aircraft carrier since World War II. Not a claim, not propaganda. Iran announced it on its military's official website. The U.S. denied it was hit. And then, something that neither side could spin away. An Iranian vessel, a small, fast naval craft, sailed directly toward the USS Abraham Lincoln, got close enough that the United States Navy opened fire on it with a Mark 45 deck cannon, missed multiple times, then launched a helicopter armed with Hellfire missiles, which struck the Iranian vessel with 2 missiles. CENTCOM said nothing publicly. 2 U.S. officials told CBS News under condition of anonymity because, in their words, they were not authorized to speak publicly. Think about that sequence. An Iranian boat got close enough to one of the most defended objects on Earth that America had to launch a helicopter to destroy it, and the Navy's main deck gun missed multiple times. Now, let's add the USS Gerald R. Ford, America's newest carrier, more advanced than the Abraham Lincoln, built with the most sophisticated naval technology ever developed. A fire broke out on board during its deployment. The details are still emerging, but the symbolism of two American aircraft carriers, the symbols of unchallengeable American naval dominance, simultaneously under fire, under drone attack, and suffering internal emergencies in the same combat zone, is not lost on anyone watching this war. Here is the strategic reality that exists between Iran's propaganda and Washington's denials, and this is the part that matters most. Iran has now fired at the Abraham Lincoln with ballistic missiles, coast-to-sea missiles, naval drones, and a small vessel that penetrated the carrier group's defensive perimeter close enough to trigger a helicopter strike response. The carrier has not been hit. The carrier is still operating. CENTCOM's statements appear accurate on that specific point. But something else has happened, something that no press release can undo. Iran has demonstrated in real time in front of the entire world that it is willing to try, day after day, multiple weapon systems, multiple approaches, relentless pressure against the symbol of American naval invincibility. And every time Iran fires at the Abraham Lincoln, even when it misses, it is sending a message not to Washington, but to every other adversary of the United States on Earth. To China, to Russia, to North Korea, to every military strategist in every country that has ever wondered what would happen if someone actually tried to challenge American carrier power in a real war. The message is this: carriers are not untouchable. They can be targeted. They can be approached. The defensive perimeter can be probed and stressed and pressed until it shows its seams. And the most powerful navy in history, when faced with cheap Iranian drones and a small, fast boat, had to launch a helicopter to clean up what its own deck cannon missed. The Abraham Lincoln is still flying aircraft, that is true, but it has also been repositioned. After the sustained drone and missile campaign, the carrier strike group shifted its operating area. It moved further from Iran, further from the Strait, further from the threat envelope that Iran's anti-ship missiles can reach. And that repositioning, even if it is described as routine operational maneuvering, has a practical consequence. It means the Lincoln's aircraft are flying longer distances to reach their targets. They are burning more fuel. They are spending less time over target. The pressure is working, even when the missiles are not landing. That is the genius of what Iran is doing around the Abraham Lincoln. It does not need to sink it. Sinking it would trigger an American military response so overwhelming that even Iran's strategists understand it would be suicidal. What Iran needs to do is make the carrier move, make it expensive to operate close in, make every admiral who wakes up in the morning and checks his threat assessments add the Abraham Lincoln to the list of assets that require extra protection, extra monitoring, extra resources. Stretch the defensive architecture, stress the logistics, accumulate the cost. And CENTCOM knows this, which is why CENTCOM has been releasing photos, videos, and statements about the Abraham Lincoln's operational status every single day. Not because the carrier is in danger, because the information battle around the carrier is almost as important as the physical battle. Every person who believes Iran hit the Lincoln, and there are millions of them, is a person who believes American power can be broken. And in this war, where Iran's strategy is built entirely on attrition and political pressure, the information battle matters. But here is the problem with CENTCOM's information strategy. They released photos to disprove the first claim. Then Iran made a second claim, then a third, then a fourth, then a fifth. CENTCOM counted them publicly. First, the Iranian regime claimed and reclaimed 5 days in a row that it sank the Abraham Lincoln. 5 days. Every day a new claim, every day a new CENTCOM denial. And every day, somewhere in the world, someone sees the Iranian claim before they see the CENTCOM denial, and the doubt accumulates. The myth of invincibility, once questioned, is extraordinarily difficult to rebuild. That is what Iran is really targeting, not the steel hull of the USS Abraham Lincoln, the idea of it, the psychological weight of it, the signal it sends to the world that America is everywhere, that America cannot be challenged, that American power is simply too overwhelming to confront directly. Every missile that Iran fires at the Abraham Lincoln, whether it lands or not, is a vote against that idea, and Iran is voting every single day. Meanwhile, the real carrier that got hit in this war was the Iranian one. The Shahid Bagheri, Iran's first drone carrier, commissioned just weeks before this war began, was struck and sunk by U.S. forces within hours of Operation Epic Fury, destroyed before it could even demonstrate its full capabilities. That is the military reality. America's carriers are flying, Iran's carrier is on the ocean floor. But military reality and strategic reality are not the same thing. Military reality says the Abraham Lincoln is operational and Iran has failed to land a confirmed hit. Strategic reality says Iran has fired at an American aircraft carrier with ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, coast-to-sea missiles, naval drones, and a small vessel that penetrated the carrier group's defensive perimeter close enough to trigger a helicopter strike response. And still standing, still here, still fighting, still telling the world that the symbol of American power can be challenged. In the mythology of American military dominance, the aircraft carrier is the dragon that cannot be slain, indestructible, inevitable, the thing that ends conversations about confronting the United States. Iran has not slain the dragon, but Iran has cut it, or tried to, publicly, repeatedly, in front of the entire world, and in a war where the strategy is not military victory, but political and psychological attrition, the attempt itself is the weapon. The Abraham Lincoln is still at sea, still flying aircraft, still projecting American power across the Arabian Sea, and Iran is still firing at it every single day. Because in this war, missing is not failing. Missing is the message. Drop your thoughts in the comments right now. Do you think Iran can ever actually hit an American carrier? Do you think it even matters? Subscribe to this channel right now. Share this video immediately, and we will see you in the next one.